Oh, all right. Wonderful. Well, I would like to welcome everyone. Today, we're going to embark on a journey of discovery. We're going to dive into the profound world of death and end of life doula work. And it's not just a calling or not just a profession, it's a deeply rooted in compassion and service. And the work of an end of life doula is indeed inclusive. And when we say inclusive, we meaning the path chosen by those who feel a deep personal connection to supporting individuals and their families, all through during this most challenging, critical transition. We're about also providing comfort and dignity and respect at the end of life. And again, this calling is not for everybody, and it is really exclusively what makes it so special. It's a sacred role that requires empathy, patience, and unwavering commitment to honoring the unique journey of each individual that we work with. As we move forward, I'm going to introduce myself, and we're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to talk the different dedications that we offer here at IDLM and how this vision has shaped our communities across the world and paving the way for inclusive, accessible training in this vital field. So, my name is Anna. I am the founder of International Doula Life Movement. I have been working in this industry for over 25 years. I have worked in hospice as a hospice employee, and I do currently work on hospice as an end-of-life doula. I'm also the creator of this end-of-life doula program, not just IDLM, but the program itself as well. And I'm also one of the key instructors here for our end-of-life doula program. Tonight, we also have Penny joining us, who's one of our instructors for our Louisiana location. Penny, would you like to share a little bit?
Yes, hi. So I have been an active doula for the last few years, but prior to that, I took care of my mom for 4 years. She lived several years, but she lived with me the last 3 years of her life. And that's kind of what made me realize that I had a calling to do this kind of work. I've thought about it for years. I've taken care of other friends and family members. And when I found IDLM, I found my home. It's a wonderful program. I facilitate classes in New Orleans and in Baton Rouge. And I also do some of the continuing education classes. And I am hoping to have a new program starting in January, cancer specialty. So.
Yes, we're super excited. Well, we're glad you're here with us tonight. A little bit about our IDLM story and why we are such a unique in the doula community is, firstly, it is important to note that there are no official governing bodies over doulas. This means that our organization and others as well, no one can say that they're accredited. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that because I have some things that I want to share with you all, because I always like to know, for people to know the good, the bad, the ugly, and always understand too the things that we wish, as we've come together as instructors, things that we wish y'all would know as well, that we wish we would have known back then. But we do play a really big crucial role in setting standards and providing accessible, comprehensive training for end-of-life doulas. And I cannot stress that enough. We have some big things on the horizon that I think are really going to change the face of how end-of-life doulas work in our industry, how end-of-life doulas are working in the community, and supporting and getting the word out there as well. But our commitment extends just beyond the training. We foster a family-like community here at IDLM that supports each member throughout their journey. We also want everyone to have a sense of belonging, that you're all a part of a committed doula community, a family, tight-knit community. And the reason why I say family is because, I have been on the phone at 2-3 o'clock in the morning with graduates that have been going through losing a parent, losing someone close to them. We've come together when we've had other students who have lost their partners. We've even traveled to go and be with them, to be that support system there for them through their journeys. So that's why I say, you'll hear me talk about family a lot here, because that's really what we are here at IDLM. So I think this is what really sets us apart from other schools, and it really makes our approach both inclusive and supportive. We also we want to get into specific areas and things like that and commitments that we'll talk about soon here, but just really wanting to recognize that our focus is on community and training and the quality and comprehensiveness of the training. This is one of the reasons why we provide continuing education, because we always want to make sure, and we also update our materials constantly, because we want our doulas to always have the most up-to-date information as they're going out and serving their community. And I believe this is what is making us that leader in forefronting all of this. So here's a list of some questions that we're going to be answering throughout our programming tonight, our workshop tonight. And we're going to discuss, things like, how do you determine if this calling's for you, or talk about potential income if you're looking to have this as a potential income. So there's some many different key factors that I think we're going to hit on tonight that will hopefully answer some of your questions. So, the doulas are really a vital role in end of life, but also people don't realize that doula work starts now, and what's unique about death doulas or end of life doulas is that we work with clients even before terminal ill diagnosis. We want to start now. We want to start making sure that they have their advanced directives done. We want to make sure that they know about the different options of funerals in their areas. This is a very proactive engagement that ensures that individuals wishes, their holistic needs are well understood and respected throughout their process in their life and what they want. Also remembering that the role of a doula is about being compassionate and driving that guidance of support, so that we're empowering our families and our clients that we're working. So yes, we are there to provide comfort and support, but we're also there to empower. The work that we do is really, again, deeply supported and meaningful, and creating sacred spaces and that really want to honor those clients that we're working with, the family, as they go through this journey. And we're also there to provide emotional, spiritual support, both for the person who is transitioning and their loved ones. I find myself as a doula when I'm working with families, yes, I am typically working with the client themselves, but also I'm including that family as well, whoever they're connected to, their chosen family. We're there to support them and guide them. And then there comes a point when that person is really what we call our active dying stage, where they're not responding back to us, but we're going to still, yes, we're still going to be watching for facial grimaces. We're going to still be watching for signs and symptoms of things going on, but we still have to shift a lot more work over to supporting the family. We also want to help them, support with them with self-care. We also help reduce burnout and emotional fatigue, and making sure that everybody feels supported and cared for. Another key part of our role is educating about the stages of the dying process, which can demystify what is happening and encourage peace of mind. We also acknowledge those unexplained mysteries that happen in the end of life process, and there to just really be that compassionate person, that guide for them as they're going through that. I also sometimes, and not every doula, and I like to make sure that doulas know this, you do not have to go around the clock when someone is dying. You do not have to be there around the clock. That is something that I find a lot of my seniors that maybe I work with that maybe is losing a partner, those clients I typically will find that I'm there doing more hours. Maybe I might stay a night or something. Again, not every doula is going to do that or has the timing, the boundaries of that right now, and that's okay. But I find that if you are actually working with your clients as soon as possible, you're able to really give them a lot of good education and support. They're going to be calling you and telling you what's going on. You remember when you talked about apnea? Mom's doing that now. And that's what happens. So it just depends on the type of clients you're working and also your availability and what you're able to provide and do. Another key part of our work, again, like I mentioned a little bit about, is advocacy, not only for our clients, but also their families. We also engage in legacy work, which allows individuals to reflect on their lives lived and the meaning and the memories for their loved ones. Our companionship offers consistent, comforting presence during a time that can really feel incredibly isolating. And additionally, we also assist families in navigating sometimes that overwhelming medical system and understanding the rights that they have as a patient and as what they can have for their families. Another crucial aspect is also helping with end of life paperwork, which often will really ease that burden on families. Also, we're there to provide grief support. We're there to provide other areas, funeral planning, memorial planning, just different types of aspects that every doula practice is different. My practice is different from Penny's practice, and that is okay. That's the wonderful world that we're in with doula work, because there is no governed bodies that says that you have to do this, 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 and this. You can use those really good things that you're good at and offer that support. So when did people start using death doulas? Well, the term was used since the early 1980s in relations to birth and postpartum care, but was first applied to death in the late 1990s. Think about it. And honestly, it was before then, because who cared for sick before we were born? They already knew that someone was ill or that they were on their way to dying. People would start, families, someone from the family would go start digging the grave. Someone from the family would build the coffin. Someone stayed back and cared and vigiled and provided that sacred space for that loved one that was dying. So this is really something that's coming more. And I will say, since COVID has happened, it did bring more awareness about end of life. But it is still something new that you will still hear people. I hear it all the time. What is a death doula? What is an end of life doula? What do you do? But it's something that really, I feel that has been around for centuries. So let's talk about certifications. So like I had mentioned earlier, at this time, certifications are not required for doulas. I could write on a sheet of paper that you're a certified doula. Okay. And many programs, honestly, will say, oh, we're giving a certification. Now, I do put certification on our certificates that we give our graduates, but just like you're here today, just like I did last night when I did Doula 101 in our cohort that we currently have going on right now, I am going to tell you straightforward, the paper does not mean anything. But what happens when you go to a good training program is that you're going to be experienced with a wide range of different aspects. And Pam, one of our executive directors here, we were working on a project together. She said, Annie, do you realize that with all the instructors that we have here, that we have over 200 years of experience? I was like, wow, and each of us have different backgrounds that we bring and knowledge that we bring to this industry and what we're doing. So I do want you to know, though, that many programs are solely based on personal experience of their creators. While these individuals may have practiced 10, 15, or even 20 years ago, their approach often reflects in past experiences rather than the realities of today's end-of-life care. Some of these so-called certification programs amount to little more than just discussions. They're lacking the depth and the focus required for true dedication and of the training that is being brought about. Worse yet, some programs demystify false information and improper practices, which is a concern we frequently hear from our students and have even personally witnessed firsthand. Here at IDLM, we believe certification is essential. We believe in providing comprehensive, in-depth education that is grounded in current practices and knowledge. Our instructors are not only experts in their fields, but they're also actively practicing professionals, ensuring that they stay connected to what is happening today and not just what's happened in the past years. We also recognize that it's only a matter of time before the doula industry adopts formal guidelines and certification requirements to establish professional standards. We also recognize that, you know, it there's a lot of things going on, really, honestly, y'all. I'm just being very straightforward. And here at IDLM, when we started with the initial, when I opened IDLM and I created our doula program, was when I did that, I was already thinking of what would be a part of those requirements if it was to happen. And we're fixing to go through a major upgrade next year, revamp next year of things that I'm adding, because there is just so many things that I'm seeing in my doula practice that I know that they are super, super important for doulas to have a good understanding and good resources to be able to help them be a successful doula in their community. We also want to know, you know, for y'all to know, is that as we continue to dive into what this, you know, certification program should ideally offer, um, we want to help you make those informed decisions, whether you're considering working with a doula or becoming one yourself, because sometimes we do have individuals come into our discoveries who are actually looking for doulas. Doulas operate in a non-governed field, like I had mentioned before, and currently there are no official accreditations for doulas or doula programs. Now, some organizations may claim to be accredited, but this is a red flag. There is no such accreditation that even existed. Additionally, many programs label themselves as doula training when merely in reality, they're more focused on exploring mortality, spiritual journeys, rather than providing that practical tools that doulas need when they are out there working in their community. Another common issue is that programs promise to equip you with everything you need, but fail to deliver. And as trainers here and as practicing doulas, we often hear from students who experience what we call skin the surface syndrome. Programs that only provide superficial information or leave out the crucial aspects entirely. Some of the longest standing programs out there are really guilty of this. Unfortunately, students take their money without adequately preparing them for the responsibility of doula work, leaving them to navigate this calling on their own. This is why we do what we do here and how we train here at IDLM, providing that comprehensive practice support training to empower doulas throughout their journey. So, what should a certification program offer? Well, I can only speak for ourselves here at IDLM, and what we offer is a comprehensive training that equips doulas to address full spectrum end of life needs. Whether you're seeking the foundational knowledge or wishing to specialize and expand your practice, our programs are designed to guide you and set you up for success. Our training program also prepares doulas to support both the progressive thinkers and those who want to plan ahead for individuals navigating the unpredictably of life and needing urgent guidance. We provide tools that assist in crafting thoughtful planning for the future, also while responding to immediate unforeseen circumstances with clarity and with care. A well-trained doula understands the importance of balancing long-term planning with and addressing those pressing immediate needs. At IDLM, our trained doulas to both serve clients and their chosen families, offering support through every stage of the end-of-life process. Our curriculum includes legacy work and grief work and talking about funerals and funeral options, celebrations of life, pediatrics, common diseases, things that you're going to see while you're out there. Although we are non-medical, I rather have a doula who's well prepared for what they're going to see, hospice doing, they're going to see the client's process is going through, all of that. We want to make sure that you are empowered and have that support. Education for families, which is so important. We teach you and talk to you. How do you educate a family? How do you find out where they're at? A doula work does not end at the immediate needs of the family. Instead, a doula becomes an entrusted, long-term companions such as other professionals. Think about it. Do you have a family doctor that wants everybody used to see in your family? I know we don't get that much more because of all the changes in our medical system. Or does your family have a mechanic that everybody in the whole family uses? They're trusted into that family, and they're called when there's a need. That's what happens with doula work. You become engraved into that family as well. And so over time, we build deep relationships with the families that we serve, offering continuously comfort and profound understanding of their unique history and their needs. We are committed to providing that type of training, not only that prepares the doula to navigate the complexity of end of life care, but also to ensure that doulas are equipped with that fostering meaningful, lasting relationships with the families that they support. Let's explore why end of life doulas are essential. Even with hospice care available, it's still important. First, the elder care population is growing, which means more families are needing support more than ever. And this is a crucial point to understand. As many patients express the desire to stay at home, families increasingly choosing to care for their loved ones in their comfort of their home. Not only that, insurances are even not allowing people to get the different types of care that they need. And they have no other choice but to be cared for at home. I want you to consider this scenario. They provide emotional support and guidance, and medical care sometimes lacks. We fill in those gaps. Doulas offer that human touch of complements that the medical team efforts. End of life doulas offer a vital support, particularly as the need of the elder care population continues to grow, and we're going to be outnumbered soon. We're already getting there. They provide a huge bridge between medical care and personalized, compassionate guidance family often seeks during this time. And I can't tell you how many times I get a lot of my calls. I do get a lot of referrals, but a lot of my calls are out of urgency. They're out of urgent care of my mom just got put on hospice and I don't feel like we're getting support that we need. And it happens constantly. Now, end of life doulas, why are end of life doulas needed if hospice is available? Well, again, we have to understand the limitations faced by the hospice team. Due to Medicare reimbursement guidelines, the time the hospice staff can spend with patients and families is limited. And additionally, healthcare field is facing a lot of staffing crises and shortages, which further impact the ability of hospice support. The nature of end of life care, it's 24/7. This is where end of life doulas become so valuable to these families. We work collaboratively with hospice, complementing the medical care by filling in those gaps and those bridges. This is a partnership that ensures that both medical needs and emotional support are adequately addressed. By having an end of life doula as a part of this care team, families receive more comprehensive and support during these crucial times. And I'm actually doing a research project on working with several hospices, and we're seeing the numbers drastically. And yes, we do work with hospice, local hospice agencies and organizations. And here at IDLM, we have many hospice partnerships across the US as well. And we are actually working with them to bridge in how to integrate doulas into their care teams. As you can see here, we have a little diagram here with the difference between hospice and end of life. And as we compare hospice to end of life doulas, let's focus on these three key areas here. Firstly, hospice primarily manages the medical care, which is crucial, but end of life comes in to reinforce that care with the emotional side, the physical side, and the non-medical support. And this partnership really ensures a comprehensive care for the patient and the family. Consider the difference in hiring. Doulas often are privately hired or contracted. So we're able to offer personalized attention whereas hospice services is generally covered by insurance. And this is where it can influence the type of flexibility in care. While hospice professionals can pronounce the death and provide bereavement care, doulas offer non-medical care, which can also support the family through bereavement. And this usually happens very naturally and organic for doulas, because we're so embedded into their family that they're going to be that person that calls you when nobody else wants to listen to them anymore. And let's just be real here. Not many hospices have a great bereavement program. I've seen some really good ones out there, and I've seen some that just barely does what the bare minimum is. And that bare minimum is basically sending out letters the first right after the death, then the first month, the third month, the 6th month, the 9th month, the 12th month, the 13th month. And guess what? There has been studies that show after 13 months, all the way up until around the 26 months is when bereavement actually kicks in for families, for those caregivers. And guess what? Hospice bereavement ends at 13 months. So now they're left with no support. This is where you come in as a doula, because you continue that maintaining that connection with them and that support. And it's just, like I said, it's very, very organic in how it happens, and these differences underscore the complementary nature of both services. So highlighting why some families choose to engage in both hospice and doulas. And this collaboration really ensures that every aspect of care, medical, emotional, spiritual, is addressed. So how do you know if this is something for you? Think about your own experiences. Do you have a background in caregiving or medical field? These can be very beneficial in this world. But more importantly, do you have the passion to helping others? And you don't have to have a medical background to be a doula. Also, consider your personal qualities. Can you be non-judgmental? Can you meet people where they are without prejudice? Are you able to hold space for a complex of emotions, offering comfort and support? And perhaps one of the most profound abilities is, can you sit with someone who's as they're dying, providing presence and peace in the final moments that can often and be chaotic? These aspects of being an end-of-life doula reflect on whether these resonate with you, and as if this is really, like we always say, this is part work. It really, really is. Let's talk about income potential. This is important for many as they're considering becoming an end-of-life doula. Yes, end-of-life doulas can indeed make money. This profession is not only provides meaningful work, but also can provide financial income. And before we explore this a little bit more, I do want to point out right here where the great woman said this the best. Becoming a funeral, death care, or end-of-life professional is not about poverty. You deserve to earn a living serving others during one's most difficult times of their lives. Stop letting society guilt you into thinking that you don't. And I have seen this time and time again. When I used to work in the IPU, the inpatient unit, they would tell the families, oh, your loved one has terminal restlessness or agitation. They're climbing out of bed. We can't sit in the room with them. So we need you to go and hire a sitter. Okay, why not hire a doula to be there? Because a doula is going to try different things. They may, hold their hand. They may play soft music for them. A sitter is not going to do any of those things. They're going to sit there. And believe me, I've seen it. But to do this, you got to first commit yourself to this new career path. It's essential to dedicate time and energy to learn and grow in this field. You also need to educate your community. By raising awareness about end-of-life doulas and the roles and the benefits that we offer, you create a new opportunity for yourself, and you also create the referral part of it. Remember, it's okay to ask us for help when you need help. We always tell students, they can always reach out for help. We give tons of community resources and guidance. We have a mentoring group that meets once a month. We give a free business 101 to our students. That's a very comprehensive business 101. I've actually had some students said, man, I went to a university and they offered a business side of their doula course. And I told them they really need to reach out to you because you've got this pinned down completely, Anna. And so we do a lot of different aspects to help doulas start their business. Basically, we will give you every single tool, and I will put the open sign on, but you've got to do the other part and get the business part that we tell you. But you'll find that fulfillment, and you'll also be able to build a sustainable practice with this by doing that. All right. So what does IDLM offer? IDLM offers a certificate, and we cover multiple areas in our doula work. We cover in our doula program just alone, cover specialties such as companion, life planning, contemplative, and end-of-life doula. We also have secondary programs. So if you are like, hey, you know what, I'm really being called to doing more grief work, we have a grief program. And I will tell you, most of our programs here are probably more than 12 to 16 weeks, most of all of them. I don't think we have anything that's shorter than 12 weeks, to be honest, because that's just the type of deep dive that we take. We have a dementia doula program. We have a life planning, advanced planning program. We have a grief doula program, a medical aid in dying program. We have so many different other specialty areas. So when you complete our course, we do give you the paper that says, yes, you have completed a certification course, and you'll also receive discounts on standalone continuing education courses, other courses. So if you decide I want to do the grief course, you get a discount for that. You also get continuing education with us. So yes, you can actually, Mary. Yes, very good question. You can take many, we have some students who will come in and take the end-of-life doula program, and they'll take the end-of-life doula program and also be taking the advanced planning program. So they can do them simultaneously. Absolutely. So you can also look at our website, and we also give you discounts, but we do have continuing education that we do provide, or a request that our students maintain 12 continuing education hours a year, 24. So every 2 years, you get your recertification, but we give you that for free. We don't charge you for that. And at most, what you pay for the doula program, or excuse me, your recertification, is $5 if you want a PDF, $10 if you want us to mail it to you. So I know a lot of other programs charge hundreds to thousands of dollars to recertify, and we don't do that. We want to keep it as affordable as possible. We offer different types of formats with our courses. We have live in-person classes, and here you can see our locations currently that we have, and we have some more coming out for next year. We do also offer a live online class, which I just started last Wednesday. We had orientation, and then yesterday, because of the holiday, we did not have class Monday. We had a class on Wednesday, which we started Doula 101, and I'll be closing out the registration by early next week, by Monday. Because we're going to get too far in, and it'll be hard to catch up. So we still have an opportunity to enroll in our live online class, and it's just like what we're doing here. We interact. None of my programs are webinars here at IDLM. That is something that we really pride ourselves on, because we want that interaction. All of our instructors really get to know our students, and we create that relationship with all of our students, our community here. So our live online classes are all interactive. You'll have different case studies, things like that. We work together, and we do a lot of interactive things. We do offer self-paced, which is exactly that way. You go as fast or as slow as you like. I will not be saying, hey, did you finish your homework this week? We wouldn't do that on a self-paced. You're purely on your own. You can reach out to us. We don't know if you need help unless you come to us and let us know. Typically, I would say students in the classes can vary. We can vary from having 10 students to up to 30 students. It just varies on what's going on. But I really try to keep it. The highest I've done is 49, and I won't go any higher than that, just because I like the interaction that I get to have with everybody, and that building that relationship is very, very important. Every student has my personal cell number. Every person has the way to get exactly a hold of me. You get my personal number to directly call me, text me. You also get our direct emails, and we have a standing policy to respond to emails within 24 hours. Weekends, I give them 78 hours, 74 hours to respond, because we do have some that are active nurses that are working. And so we have a few nurses that work just weekends. And so they're working over the weekend. They're not going to respond to you until Monday. But typically, I will tell you, they're pretty good and they still respond to you depending on what's going on with their caseload and whatnot. I'm not going to read through each and every course module that we have here because it's a lot, but I do want to hit on a few. We do touch on inclusivity practices, being the contemplative doula, like I mentioned earlier, getting in touch with your own mortality, the code of ethics, things like that. We do talk about how do you hold end-of-life death discussions. We also have partnerships. So we have partnerships, for example, with Lisa with the death deck and the EOL deck. You also get a special code that if you want to order those decks, you get a special discount code. Plus, she has a module in our program teaching you how to utilize those. We also have partnerships and licensing rights for Barbara Carnes. So I have all the video licensing rights. You do get access to the 3-part series that she has. This is how people die. And you can always go back and watch it. I have special permission that we're able to share that and keep that in your portal for you. We also have a partnership with Care, which is the hospice care plan. So we teach you how to utilize that book, as well as the Barbara Carnes books. And what I should also say too, while these are in my mind, we do have several book requirements for our course, which is the End of Life Guideline series with Barbara Carnes, the Always Offer Never Force book with Barbara Carnes, and then we also do the hospice care plan with Care, and we do have a discount code for that. Those are the only 3 sets of, or I should say 2 different sets of books that we ask you to get. We give you tons and tons of resources in your student account, in your portal, but we go over things, how to working so that you can be knowledgeable to say, hey, you know what, my client's family is having anticipatory grief, and then you know how to navigate that. So we have a grief module for doulas. We talk about common diseases and infection control, PPE. We talk about pediatrics and parent loss. As you see each of these little bullet points, I want you to know those are individual modules that we teach about 2.5 hours on. So when I say comprehensive, I'm very serious about what we talk about with comprehensive. We go from everything from advanced planning. We also have a partnership with Doula, which is you get 6 months free access. And then after that, it's $10 a month if you choose to keep it. But it's a platform that you can actually run your doula business through. So you can put your notes in there, you can send out information, you can do all kinds of stuff in there. It's really, really an awesome platform that you'll get to experience with. The other thing that I want to mention too about our coursework right now, yes, we are currently at 33 modules. Next year, I'm going to 40. Our price is increasing. And I always tell students, even if you sign up now and take a course now, or you decide, hey, I'm too busy right now, but I'm going to sign up now, then next year you can jump into the January and you're at our price range for this year. We do have about 10 self-study modules. If you're doing it live online with me, you do 10 of those modules self-study, but it is over 80 hours of comprehensive training. We do apprenticeships throughout our program as well. And what that is, when we're doing it live online, we're going into breakout rooms. I'm going to give you assignments and activities that y'all are going to go into breakout rooms and practice and role play and have discussions and things like that to help you be coming out more feeling confident and prepared when you're coming out of training. We do have assignments and case studies and exams. All of those are in the portal. They're easy access. They're open book for you and whatnot. So what I'd like to do real quick is I want to share with you a quick video. It's about 13 minutes. This is a case study that one of our students did, our graduates did, and it's going to give you kind of a little bit how the role of a doula would look like in work.
Hi, I'm Marilyn LaFrance Shapka from Soulful Transitions. I've been an end-of-life doula now for 3 years. I'm going to share with you what my experience was like and some of the details when providing end-of-life doula services for one of my clients. I still recall the initial telephone conversation I had with my client's wife, Cecile, yet back in September 2021. Her voice sounded very nervous, anxious, and totally confused with what her family had just been faced with. She began to tell me that her husband, Mike Robertson, age 67, was diagnosed 2 days ago with an advanced stage of liver cancer, and that the doctors gave him only 3 months to live. She expressed to me that they wanted to meet as soon as possible, as they had no idea what to do or where to begin. We set up a date for our initial meeting. At the in-person intake, I went through all the questions in the enrollment package with them. There was so much that came out from this meeting. They shared their true sentiments about how they viewed sacredness of life. They shared the importance of family. Mike expressed that he was not afraid of death itself, but rather feared what he didn't know. This was a perfect moment to bring out the Barbara Carnes book, A Time to Live. It took about 15 minutes to read the book together. I asked Mike if there was anything that stood out to him in what we had read. He said that there was, but he didn't want to share at the moment. I learned that Mike was a father of 8 adult children and 17 great-grandchildren. He was so proud of his legacy. He was self-employed and had a very successful plumbing business. He expressed that he was going to make sure that his business was looked after, which amazingly he did, despite how ill he was. He was very organized and had wonderful staff that helped him with many of the details. It was recommended by the doctors that Mike be on palliative care, as there was no hospices in his area. The family decided that it was best for him to be at home to live his final days. I was in touch with the health unit nurse that was assigned to him, and we made sure that he had all necessary equipment, medication, and comforts that he would need to be at home. Mike's children and wife were sad, yet honored to be able to be there for him and take turns to help with all of his needs. We created a schedule and set up a family chat so that all were informed. I had made arrangements with a family friend to come and build a pony wall that divided the small room off of the main living area of the main level, because Mike wanted his privacy, but yet in the comfort of his home, he still wanted to be active with what was happening and still be able to rest as needed. He shared with me that he wanted a lot of company and welcomed all family and as many friends as possible to come and visit him. He said, "I want to be able to say goodbye to as many people as I can." His son Philip gladly took on this responsibility to message, call, and email as many people to come to the house and visit. This was a huge success. For a period of 2 weeks, over 50 people came at various times of the day for short but meaningful visits. After a week went by on one of my visits, I asked Mike and Cecile if they had a personal directive made out for Mike, which they had, and I wasn't surprised with how organized they were. They provided me with a copy, and I double-checked to make sure that the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted. They also shared with me that they had both prearranged and paid funerals. Now that was wonderful, but I still wanted to make sure that Mike
I am so sorry. I hit a button. I am so sorry.
we created. It was recommended, but he didn't want to share.
I'm trying to get back to where we were. Sorry.
They shared their truth as they had no idea what to do or where to begin. We set up a date for our initial meeting. At the in-person intake, I went through all the questions in the enrollment package with them. There was so much that came out from this meeting. They shared their true sentiments about how they viewed sacredness of life. They shared the importance of family. Mike expressed that he was not afraid of death itself, but rather feared what he didn't know. This was a perfect moment to bring out the Barbara Carnes book, A Time to Live. It took about 15 minutes to read the book together. I asked Mike if there was anything that stood out to him in what we had read. He said that there was, but he didn't want to share at the moment. I learned that Mike was a father of 8 adult children and 17 great-grandchildren. He was so proud of his legacy. He was self-employed and had a very successful plumbing business. He expressed that he was going to make sure that his business was looked after, which amazingly he did, despite how ill he was. He was very organized and had wonderful staff that helped him with many of the details. It was recommended by the doctors that Mike be on palliative care, as there was no hospices in his area. The family decided that it was best for him to be at home to live his final days. I was in touch with the health unit nurse that was assigned to him, and we made sure that he had all necessary equipment, medication, and comforts that he would need to be at home. Mike's children and wife were sad, yet honored to be able to be there for him and take turns to help with all of his needs. We created a schedule and set up a family chat so that all were informed. I had made arrangements with a family friend to come and build a pony wall that divided the small room off of the main living area of the main level, because Mike wanted his privacy, but yet in the comfort of his home, he still wanted to be active with what was happening and still be able to rest as needed. He shared with me that he wanted a lot of company and welcomed all family and as many friends as possible to come and visit him. He said, "I want to be able to say goodbye to as many people as I can." His son Philip gladly took on this responsibility to message, call, and email as many people to come to the house and visit. This was a huge success. For a period of 2 weeks, over 50 people came at various times of the day for short but meaningful visits. After a week went by, on one of my visits, I asked Mike and Cecile if they had a personal directive made out for Mike, which they had, and I wasn't surprised with how organized they were. They provided me with a copy, and I double-checked to make sure that the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted. They also shared with me that they had both prearranged and paid funerals. Now that was wonderful, but I still wanted to make sure that Mike was given the opportunity to express if he wanted any details written down for his funeral. Because this all happened during COVID and there were restrictions for gatherings, he made it very clear to me that he wanted his funeral outside on his family farm. I made sure that we were able to rent a large tent, chairs, and an altar for when the day came. He shared with me several details that he envisioned would take place. And I made sure that when the time came that these details were fulfilled. The days were getting more and more difficult for Mike, as there was a noticeable difference in his breathing. His words were fewer, as each one of his breaths were more and more impaired. The care plan booklet came in handy for family members and the nurses who were able to record the times that his medication was administered, when he had bowel movements. They recorded any nausea, vomiting, or discomfort, and many other things. It was obvious that Mike's daughter, Vanessa, had read through the care plan booklet because she told me that when a person is actively dying, they may have a shortness of breath, which brings on discomfort and needs to be addressed. And there was a noticeable difference in Mike's breathing in the past couple days. I assured her that I would be in touch with the doctor and let him know about the rapid change in his breathing and that they would probably prescribe him benzodiazepine to help with his anxiety. The death process was approaching rapidly. I knew that they only had a few days left. So I suggested to the children and grandchildren to make their visits shorter with more meaning, and that this was a perfect opportunity to create legacy projects. Some of the children did hand casts with their dad and grandfather. Some made videos with him nestled into bed, and others read scripture out loud to Mike, as he was a devout Catholic. With all the visitors that Mike had, I was sure grateful that I had 5 minutes with him alone one day, because I felt that there was something that was bothering him. So I opened up to him and expressed my thoughts. I said, "Mike, on one of the first meetings with you, I read a small booklet. Do you remember that?" "Yes, I do," he said. "I asked you if there was anything that resonated with you, and you mentioned that there was, but that you didn't want to talk about it then. Are you wanting to talk to me about anything now?" Mike stared up at the ceiling with a gaze that was long and hard. It was very difficult for him to tell me, but he did. He told me about a friend that he had had a falling out with many years ago, that he felt in his heart that he wanted to make amends with him. I assured him that I would get on this immediately. Luckily, with the right connections, I was able to reach this friend. After explaining to him Mike's situation, he was glad and willing to come and see Mike. I cannot tell you what happened behind those doors when the two of them were alone, But all I can say is that Mike's face and spirit was freed. He was now at peace. He was now ready to go to his forever home. After the funeral, I met a few more times with Cecile and some of her children. I shared with them several resources on grief. But we mainly talked about how grief is love turned inside out.
So I hope that gives you a little bit of a clear picture of what doula work could look like. Again, all doula practices are slightly different in what we do and what we offer as a doula. And so some exciting perks that we offer here at IDLM. First, we offer a free business 101, which is 7 modules with workbooks. And it's a fantastic resource to help you get started on the right foot and save you time, energy, and money, and don't make the same mistakes as we've done as instructors. Also, upon completing your course, you'll participate in Google Meet's online graduation, receive a physical certificate, and that's not all. You know, we also have our movement, which is a community app, and I'm happy to take y'all in there just so y'all can kind of see that. But we do also have things, as I'm pulling that up for you, we do also have things as such as a book club, grief support for our doulas. So whether you're working through your own personal grief or you've experienced something working with a client, we do have that support once a month. We have a group that meets. So also another thing that I just saw that glance here that I wanted to pop up is we do also this semester for our fall cohort, anybody that signs up also receives access to Life Books, which is a free $250 value given to our students only here at IDLM for free. And we will walk you through writing a book, whether it's for yourself or for a loved one. And you'll get to experience that. And you also, they include like an affiliate link. So if you decide to use it in your practice, you do have access to that as well. We do also, this is our, this is the movement right here. So we have different events that happen throughout the year. We have Death Positive Talk. We have our monthly mentoring group coaching call. We have other workshops and all kinds of stuff that are in here as well. We do movie premieres, all kinds of things. It just, the list goes on and on and on. We have different groups here, as you can see. We have marketing web, so everything is classified in these different groups so that you can be able to access and see the different support materials and things that we have. And then we have our course groups as well. You can directly message others in there. And so it's just a really, I like to think of it as a Facebook for doulas, but off of Facebook. We have state groups, we have family events, again, we are constantly updating our course materials, and we do not charge you for that access. And so that is a little bit about our movement here. So I am going to stop the screen share and open up for any questions that you all might have.